Hi. So after the holidays, we have possibly a lot of champagne bottles lying around. And of course, sending those in for recycling is great, but we can recycle some of it ourselves and make something of lasting personal and memory value to celebrate, to memorialize the event. Like, for example, New Year's 2018, or 2019, that is. So at the end of the celebration, we have two champagne bottles. These are from Trader Joe's. These are the Ernest Rapinoe French champagne from Epernay that sells for $10.99 a bottle. It's 375 ml. But you can use any standard champagne bottle as long as it has a cork, a wire cork restraint, and preferably a decorated metal cap that has the name of the champagne house on it, because those are the best ones for this project. So you see, you need a champagne bottle that has this foil wrap at the top and then the paper wrapper, which we're going to soak off, but you need this foil wrap, right? And after you've taken the champagne bottle apart, you've had your party. Let's say you had two champagne bottles that you opened up. You have two corks. You have two of these wire things that are there to restrain the cork and keep it on. And you have two of these metal caps. These happen to be Ernest Rapinoe, but you have two of these metal caps that hold the champagne cork on. As you know, when it's on the champagne bottle, it looks something like this, right? It's got the restrainer on it, the champagne cap, and the cork. And of course, you take this off, and then that comes off with the retainer, and then you pop the cork off. Right? Just remember, little safety advertisement here. When you're opening a bottle of champagne, always make sure it's pointing away from yourself, away from animals, away from things that could break if they got hit by the cork, etc. And remember that corks have been known to even tear off right as soon as you take the wrapping off. Some of them will even tear right off, even with the wire restraint not having been removed yet. So you always want to point a champagne bottle away from you at all times, even when it's still intact and hasn't even been opened in any way yet. Okay? So that's that for the advertising. So how do we make something of lasting value from these components? Well, for a long time now, I've been making these magnets from champagne caps, okay? Whoops. The caps, okay? So you got two champagne bottles, you've got the caps, Ernest Rapinoe, right? So at Michael's Hardware, Michael's Craft, you can get these little round magnets, right? They look like they're about maybe a half an inch wide and maybe a quarter of an inch thick. And you put two of them together. They only go together one way. The poles have to be arranged in the right way. And so making the magnets is really simple. You just take the magnet and you put the magnet in the cap. I don't know, can you see that okay? Put the magnet in the cap. And you take the other cap, other side of the cap, and you just put it together, see? You just sandwich it together. The magnet holds it together. So now you have a magnet, and you can put this on your refrigerator or whatever. And, you know, if it's Dom Perignon, it's pretty exciting, right? You got a magnet. I mean, you're going to pay $300 for a bottle of Dom Perignon. You might want to make a magnet out of the caps to memorialize it since you paid all the money for it. Must have been a special occasion, or else you're filthy rich. So now what do you have left? So now you got a magnet you can put in your fridge. Now you got two of these wire things. You got two of these wire things, and you got two corks, and you got two bottles, right? So you can make a candle holder out of this, amazingly. So how do you do that? Well, first, you take one of these wire things, and you put it on the top of the cork, right? And then you got to kind of twist it on there. So to do that, you need to have a pair of pliers. Okay, so here's a pair of pliers, and here's the champagne, wire thing. So the wire things are kind of cool. They're kind of engineered. They have like a geometric shape to them. So you put it on the cork, and then you just twist this down to get it tight on there. Now be careful when you twist it, because this metal is not all that durable. If you twist it too much, it's going to snap off. It's going to break. And when you're done, you have this kind of thing like this, and you can sort of flatten this out a little bit, because this is your little thing to hold your candle holder, right? You can kind of already see that your round candle is going to fit in this opening at the top, right? So now you've got the basics of a candle holder, but with this candle holder, the wax is just going to drip onto your table, so you need something, right, to prevent that, don't you, right? So how do you do that? So you take another one of these things, right? And you Now you want to make a little, first you're going to make a little base for the candle holder. So how do you do that? Well, you're going to have to remove this round part on the other wire holder. So you take a pair of pliers that has a snipper and you snip that wire. See, that's broken now. Now you can take it out. You can pull it out of these things. You might have to snip it in two places because it's wound in a couple of spots. So snip it here, right? And now you take those out. And now you have a little thing that looks like sort of like Elon Musk's little lunar lander thing, right? So you want to put this on the bottom of the cork. You know, it's going to be the feet of your candle holder, but it's too small, right? I mean, look, the cork doesn't fit. So what you got to do is, these are braided, so you got to unwind these things a little bit. So you're going to unwind this a little bit here. You got to look at the wire and see which way it's wound, and make sure you're unwinding in the right direction. Unwind each one a little bit, right? So you're just opening up that opening so that you can get your champagne cork on there, right? So we're unwinding that a bit. So is it big enough? No, I don't think so. Not yet. Maybe. No, I don't know. Let's see. No, it's still too small. So we're gonna have to unwind it some more. So you just keep kind of unwinding it, you know, trying to kind of do it equally on each of these legs, and until you get something that'll fit on the. It still won't fit. See. So a little more. I'm not working at the moment. My wife said, you know, she said I have a beautiful mind. I'm always thinking of things, even when I'm not working. So this is what happens when you're not working. You start thinking of things like this. So now it's almost there. I think it's almost there. Ah, see, it'll just squeeze onto the bottom of the cork. Can you see that? Right. So that now is the makings of the base of your cork. Now of your candle holder. You don't want to tighten it down yet, but you can kind of see how it's going to look. You have to kind of bend the wires a little bit to get them to be a smooth, a stable base. Get them to where, you know, it's standing upright. It takes a little bit of testing. You want your Elon Musk lunar lander to be about the way it's supposed to be. So that kind of gives you an idea. I mean, roughly speaking, that's what it's going to look like, right? But you still have a problem that, you know, the wax is going to drip onto the table, so you don't want that, right? So up here in this top part up here, you need some sort of a wax collector. So that's where you take the bottle itself and you take like a box cutter or a really sharp knife, right? And now you want to open up this label. So if you can see here, I'm going to just go like down the side here. So I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to kind of, and do this carefully. Keep your hand away from the box cutter. But I'm just going to sort of slice it right down here like this. So now I've opened this up, I hope. And so now you see your label will come off, right? So now this just comes right off of the bottle, okay? See that? Right, comes right off. And you can really do this any way you want, but for now I'll just leave this paper label on here. But see, now you have a little cone, right? That's got the brand of everything and on here, etc., etc. So to do this really safely, you really should take the paper part off. See, because there's a foil part of the label, and then there's a paper part. So to get that paper part off, you just go to a faucet and just kind of run some water over it, and it'll just kind of peel off because it's just a water-based adhesive. So I'm going to do that right now, but I'm not going to show that to you, but you'll hear me doing it. Well, actually, maybe I could bring the phone over and kind of prop it up here so you can sort of see this. Maybe you can see it. All right. So now you're running some water here, and you're just going to kind of soak this label off. See, it comes right off. You can save that as a memento too if you want. So that comes right off that paper label. Different types of champagne will have different systems, but this is usually the system. There's a foil and there's a paper. So now you've taken the paper part off, and now you just have this. Now you're left with just this foil. And I should have mentioned at the beginning that for this candle holder to turn out really well, you got to be careful when you rip the thing off the champagne bottle to pop the cork off, because you want to do it real carefully so that you don't tear up this foil wrapper, because the wrapper has some shape to it, and for your candle holder to look nice, you want the thing to be intact, right? So I'm kind of cleaning the last little bits of glue off of this foil, and then I'm going to take a paper towel and just kind of dry it a little bit. I suppose that's wasteful, so I'll put the paper towel over the faucet here to dry. I don't want to waste it, right? So now I come back over to my candle holder that I'm assembling. Right, so now you have this foil. So now what you do with the foil is you kind of just form it into a wax collector, right? Just kind of approximately. I mean, you're just reforming it into the shape it was in, right? When it was on the bottle, it's kind of a cone-shaped thing. See, like that. Now you want to take you have to take things apart a little bit. So you've got to. I should have mentioned this, that you really have to do this last. You've got to take this apart. Right, you got to take this off, and you really should not twist these things more than you have to. So what you do is you put this on sort of inverted, right? You're going to wrap it around the cork. See the cork there? You're going to wrap it around the cork, and it fits right around the cork very nicely. It'll just barely fit. There it is. See, it goes around the cork, and you want to kind of form it to the cork. And, you know, as much as possible, preserve the name of your brand of champagne, because, right, you're sort of making something that's a memento. So you kind of want to flatten out the areas where the name of your champagne is. And then kind of shape the top. This is your wax collector that you're making now. See, and there's the top. The candle's going to rest on the top of the cork. So now you take your little Elon Musk lunar lander feet again, and you fit it over the foil and over the cork. You got to do it kind of carefully so you don't tear the foil. I think I'm not doing it carefully enough. I'm going to have to open it up a little more, right? Because the foil takes a little extra. So let me open it up. I'm opening up this thing so I can get over the foil. Right, so you want the foil to be kind of up, right, like that. See how it's kind of making a little vase, right? So you put the foil over you put the wire over the foil and over the cork. You got to kind of work it up there. There. Now see, it's on. Now it's on over the foil and over the cork. And now you just want to twist it on there so it holds everything together. Okay, so twist it on, and
1 second.
Elena, let me finish the video. My wife's talking to me, people, but let me finish the video, Elena, because I can't stop it while I'm doing the work. So you twist the little wire things on, right? So because they're going to hold the whole thing together, and you kind of make sure your wrap is where. I need that light, please. Thank you. Put the wrap on there and get it all even, and make sure that it'll stay on. So you want these to be tight, but you don't want to snap them off. So I'm just using the pliers to twist these twisties so that they're on firmly there. All right. So now you just kind of adjust the feet until it sits upright. I don't know if you can see that. I have to pull it farther back, but you see you're kind of adjusting the little lunar lander feet of the Elon Musk rocket. Now it's fairly stable. That's not quite stable. You just want to get it to where it's visually upright, right? Where it's standing straight so that your candle will sit straight. So that's about right. That's about it right there. Now just kind of shape the foil with your hand like that, you know, get it kind of shaped. And then you have to put this back on. Actually, I forgot to put this on, but probably should have done this first. But see, you got to put this on top of the cork. So you push this down onto the cork. You can actually probably should have done this before you put the foil on. But anyway, you can do it after the fact. So now this is the cork. This is the wire piece that's going to hold the candle, right? This is the other wire restraint. So you put this on there, and then you tighten this down. This little piece here. That's the little piece that sticks off, and you twist it on so that candle holder is on there firm. And remember that if you twist it too much, it's just gonna snap. And so now it's still moving around a bit, so I'm going to tighten it a little more. You just want to get it to where it's tight and it won't move around. It's pretty tight. You have to be careful because if you tighten it too much, the wire is going to break, because this is not really high grade wire. Okay, so I'm going to try to get away with one more tighten, and that's good. Now it's on there tight. It's not going to move, right? And this is this little tab that comes off, which is the untwisty thing. When you untwist the wire that holds that, that's going to be your little thing for carrying the candle holder, right? So again, I'm kind of trying to get it to where it sits. Well, you have to experiment with these feet. You can kind of straighten them to where there's four. See where they're kind of opposite each other, and then once you have that, you can adjust the height, and now it's standing straight. Now you just want to kind of wrap the wrap around that little place where you have the holder right there, see, and then form the foil into a wax catcher, and you know, make sure it's kind of, like I say, make sure that the brand name is displayed, because that's part of your memento. Yeah, and you can even kind of, you know, fold it over. You can make a little tab to kind of fold it over at the top. I mean, you have a little bit of the foil, and you can just kind of fold it to make the seam. Right. Now you just kind of form it into a nice little flute and get it straightened, and now you're done. See? I don't know if you can see it, but this is your candle holder, and it sits not on the table by itself. See? It sits on the table. Yeah, and so now that you're done with that, you can put a candle in it. I'm gonna go get a candle. Now what we use these things for is we use them to take care of old candle stubs that we don't want to leave in our good candelabra, because then they leak and get stuck to the candelabra. So see, now you have a candle in there, which is sitting in the top of the little holder. So now you light your candle. Okay, and now you have a lasting memento of your special occasion, and the little wire piece on the end allows you to carry it down the hallway like some character from one of those old English movies where they didn't have any electric lights and they carried candles all over the place, you know, like Dracula or something like that, or Wuthering Heights. So you have this thing, and just like Elon Musk's thing, it comes down for a landing, and it's your candle holder, and you've also recycled the two metal caps into a magnet. So you have now, from your champagne bottles, your two champagne bottles, you have one magnet and one forever candle holder that will always memorialize your special occasion. For example, maybe you proposed to your wife, and so you have the magnet and you have the candle holder, and these two things are forever, and you've made them yourself too, and you've prevented this waste from going into the landfill and made something useful with it. Isn't that great? Happy holidays 2018 and Happy New Year 2019. Enjoy making candle holders and magnets from your champagne bottles. Thanks for listening.